Hey y'all, it's your girl Toyia T, and today we have a great episode that I think is going to really spur up some conversation. We're fresh off of Valentine's Day, the day of love, and today's episode is called Love, Relationships, and Dating in 2023. But this one is from the male perspective. We have a few gentlemen that have joined us to give us their insights, and so with that, I'm going to go ahead and invite them in so we can have a conversation. Hello, hello, hello. I'm looking forward to this conversation, guys. How are you?
Good. How you doing today?
So,
Good, good. So, what I'll start by doing is just have you do a brief introduction, nothing too long, just say your name and why you were interested in joining this conversation. Raymond, you want to start?
sure. Raymond Woods, senior recruiter here. Interested in adding my perspective. I feel like the approach would be balanced and sensible, and excited to be here.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you. Curtis, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Curtis Brinker, owner of Bodies Unleashed, a fitness and day spa in Mount Lookout. I feel like I just might have a little bit of a different perspective on love and relationships, and hopefully I can give you guys some insight on everything.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to hearing about that perspective. And Ulysses, last but certainly not least, do you want to do a brief introduction?
Hi, how are you all doing? I'm Ulysses Glenn. I'm co-producer or one half of 811 podcast. I'm here from Washington D.C., native of Cleveland, Ohio. What's up?
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the conversation. And the first question that we have is, do you guys still believe in like the traditional sense of love and what we would call marriage or long-term relationships? What is your perspective on that, given the state of 2020? And whoever can start us out.
So you're saying, do we believe in, say this again? Can you repeat the
Do
question?
you believe in love and do you believe in a traditional relationship or like a marriage?
I
Yeah, I
mean,
do,
me,
yes. Yeah.
me personally, I think that there are, things are constantly changing. Um, I believe, honestly, it's about the people that are in relationships and whatever their perspective is. Some people can be in a relationship with one person, and then other people might want to add people to their relationship. As long as there are healthy boundaries and everybody's open, there's communication. I feel like both types of relationships can work.
So it's
I,
more a matter of who the people are and what the perspective is of the people.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
well,
What
to
about
answer,
you, Raymond?
well, to answer your question, yes, I still believe in love and traditional relationships. I believe in today's time, there's a conflict between traditional relationships and modernism. And so just kind of that modern mindset and that modern culture in today conflicts with traditional relationships. Uh, and on top of other things like social media that, again, conflicts with traditional relationships makes it a little bit more challenging, but yeah, absolutely.
Right. So you're saying like social media adds another layer to a relationship that you may not have had 20 years ago, right? Um,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
speaking of which, how do you guys feel about women sliding into your DMs? Like, is that, I mean, we've always had this like hunt versus the hunter mindset when it comes to dating, and that the man is supposed to be the one to approach the woman. How do you feel about women sliding into your DMs? Is that a turn off? Does that turn you on? Is that like you feel like they're out of pocket? What is your perspective on that?
Um, I guess that would be the same thing as I guess a woman asking you out on a date, or I guess a woman sending you a drink. So I wouldn't see that as a problem, as an issue, or like a deal breaker. Like, oh, because she approached me. That's like saying she approached me first. I mean, just like from the first question, I think relationships, especially at a certain age, social media has played a lot into them. So in 2023, someone sliding into your DMs, would be a normal thing. It's not like it's 1960 where someone's asking, a woman asking you to dance is outrageous.
Yeah.
Well, but does it happen as often as like, I mean, men slide into our DMs all the time. Like it's a consistent thing. And they may not even be of the caliber to where they should slide into your DM, but they
Well,
will anyway.
well, let me ask you this:
Uh,
have you ever slid in in the dude's DMs?
I haven't.
You have not. How come?
No,
Why not?
I'm more of a traditionalist, I guess I would say. Like, even when it comes to like being in public, I would never send a man a drink. Like, that's just not something that I'm gonna do. It's just not me. Do I think that it's inappropriate or anything like that? No, it's just not my personality.
All right. I think that's the thing with. I think that's probably with most people. It would be some guys might be even more traditional, so they were mad that she approached him. It would just be like some men that wouldn't want to be with a woman that made more money. They're usually the same type of dude.
I'm here for it. I think that
Right.
look, I admire women
Right. Right.
flirt a little bit, who come forward because so many people on social media, you can't see them all. And so for someone to make their intentions or their requests made known, I think that's admirable. I think that women tend to do a little bit better than men, and which
Right.
is pretty funny. It's equivalent to seeing somebody out and dropping a handkerchief in front of them and like, oh, let me get that for you, and sparks a conversation. And so I think that it's pretty clever when women do it. So yeah, I think most men, like the other fellas can speak to this, but don't mind it. It just depends on if it's a pretty strong approach, but subtle approach is definitely welcome.
Okay. What about you, Curtis?
And I'll say
Are they
personally,
sliding in your DM?
all the time. I'll say that I really like that because I'm looking for a woman who's strong, who knows what she wants. So the fact that they have the courage to say something to me, I find, honorable all within itself. I honestly think too that speaking of social media, that it's made dating so much harder, that like you talked about before, we deal with issues that they never had to deal with back then. Just the fact that you can get online, get in touch with all these people, and you have all these, we'll say beautiful women. And I feel like the issue is it's so easy to get distracted from your own relationship in that sense. Because, once you reach a certain status and a lot of people can get to you very easily, it just makes things a lot harder.
Right. I would agree. And I would also say that I think somebody made a comment in one of my previous shows that were talking about the fact that you are seeing all of these other potentials that are not reality. Like they have put themselves on this pedestal, they've created this persona of who you think or who they want you to think they are. And you're comparing them to your current relationship, of which you know all of the ins and outs and the befores and afters and the deep, dark secrets of it. And you think, oh, well, this one might be better than the one I had. But in reality, if you were to really find out what's going on behind the mask, if you will, it's probably not as attractive as you might think.
Yeah, and I think honestly that's one of the biggest reasons that I kind of stay away from social media, because I feel like everybody has their phone and they're like this all the time, and everybody wants to paint this picture of themselves that isn't necessarily true. So that's why it's kind of hard to look at someone's Instagram, Facebook, try to figure out who they really are, because they're only showing you things that they want you to see. Right. So it just kind of plays back into the whole thing that it just makes things a lot more difficult to really figure out who people are on the inside, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I kind of have to disagree. I understand what you're saying, but I disagree slightly. So if I want to know who someone is, like most people look at like their LinkedIn profile. If you want to see who the person really is, look at Facebook. Because Facebook, unless someone's really protecting it, someone's tagged them in something, they're in pictures. If they've been on there for several years, you're going to kind of figure out who they are. I mean, either they're not on there, they're on there sometimes. You can kind of tell who the person is. You can see who they know, what people you have in common. So I wouldn't use it as the Bible, but it's it's a good mechanism to have. It's a good thing to kind of look like, okay, you can tell if the person's a partier. You can see if they go out, if they read books. You know, they kind of, if they've been on there for a while, they gave up a lot of information. But
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you would say that because I feel like the slimiest ones are not on Facebook.
oh,
Like, the
facts.
ones that you find
That's
out about this
facts.
girl, this her husband. He's like, your husband on Facebook? She's like, no, my husband don't do social media. Like, oh, okay.
Okay, right.
You can't even tag him on your anniversary.
Right, right.
Like,
There's no tags in him. Right. That does mean that, yeah. I was wondering if they would realize that, like, that means he's just slimy. Like, he doesn't
right.
want anyone. Like,
This is just a slime bucket right here. That's why he ain't on nothing, because he wanted to be under the radar real quick. So are there rules of engagement for you guys? Like, I mean, obviously, you listen, they have to have Facebook so he can look at them and see what's going on.
well, most women, right. I mean, they have faith, but you have to realize most women do have some type of social media.
Right.
They always do. You can find them. But I think one of the questions you were asking before about women sliding into your DM, women sliding into your DM are not like men, whereas a man's going to keep sending you "Good morning, beautiful" messages for like 2 years. So,
Or morning rising. Those are the ones I hate the most.
right.
Morning rising queen. Like, boy,
Yeah,
that's
good morning.
like
Good morning,
Yeah,
beautiful. Good morning, queen.
green
No.
rising. Yeah.
Women aren't doing that. All they do, they send you a message. You look nice, blah, blah, blah. That's it. They're not going, dudes, 2 years later, every morning, they're still saying good morning, beautiful.
Right.
But I will tell you, sooner or later, it works. Because I've seen you like, he just wore it down. Like,
Right. Sometimes they just get broken down, you know. You might catch them at their lowest point, or it's like, you know what?
COVID.
I'm
During
gonna see what
COVID?
you're talking about. You
During
know, ain't
COVID?
nobody else told me good morning today.
Man, those were the worst.
If nothing else, he's consistent. So, do you guys have rules of engagement when you like? I know women a lot of times they have like this whole list of things they're looking for and specific requirement. Do men have like, you know, these 3 things? If they're not doing this, then it's a wrap. Are there rules of engagement when it comes to dating?
You got to break it down. Are you talking about more like meeting in person, or are we meeting them on social? Because I think it varies a little bit from there.
Either or.
Yep.
Whichever one. If you have rules on social and you have rules in person, tell us the rules.
Yeah. So for me personally, again, I lean a little bit more towards the traditional male. So for me, the first thing is how they present themselves, right? You got the extra makeup on, you got long snuffleupagus eyelashes, you know, then, you know, I'm not trying to talk to you at all. But if you present yourself pretty decently, very well, you're operating your femininity, your feminine energy, I'm going to listen to how you talk. How do you speak to me? How do you engage with the people around you? If you can't talk, you're using excessive profanity when we're just meeting each other, you're talking about other people, then I'm more than likely going to back off. But if the conversation tends to be very, very well rounded, you have some layers to you outside of just how you look, then I'll tend to pursue that female a little further.
Okay. And now how does that change from in person to social?
I have to go back to what Lisa said. I'm going to scroll through their feed. If they have any public comments, I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to see how many selfies they posting. If they posting 5 selfies a day, from a male perspective, I think that we naturally think she's a little full of herself. She may be a little conceited, so we tend to shy away. Or she's very insecure, and so she posts a lot of selfies for attention. That's not somebody I'm trying to babysit, honestly.
Or it's just like we do the same. Men do the same. Well, we don't do the same recognizance that women do, where you all do the $19.99 background check on us.
Yeah, it's FBI, right?
We don't do like you all do. Like, we're not doing the $19.99 to get a full background check on them. No, we're not doing that. We just kind of make sure, like, okay, you look on Facebook or something like that. But
is there anything that you would find that you'd be like, yeah, it's a wrap? I'm not trying to talk to this girl.
If she used to be a he, that's definitely a deal breaker. Like, you know, I mean, No, no, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But if your name now is Tina and it used to be Tom, that's a deal breaker. That's the first deal breaker.
Okay.
Also,
Any other one?
women who dog out there. I'm sorry to cut you off, but women who dog out there, dog men out on social media, it's a wrap.
Dog out their ex-husband, yeah.
I feel like women who post a lot of like just very like sexual pictures. If you got an OnlyFans, I don't think I'm gonna really take you that serious.
Well, you listen to it. Well, I don't know. Okay,
we both make money.
Maybe she's a very loving person.
But I think the main thing, kind of what Raymond had hit on in the very beginning, was just with your energy. It's kind of hard for me to pick up on that over like social media, but I'm really big on when we sit down, when we talk, how well do you speak? Obviously, you got to be taking care of business outside of here, so what do? Now you don't have to own your own business, but are you taking care of your business? That's another big thing with me.
So they're not looking for you to come in and be the captain.
You said what?
They're not looking for you to come in and take care of them.
Right. I know I'm a king. I need a strong woman by me. They say every strong man has a strong woman behind him. I think that's really big. But it mainly just for me personally, it's all off of like energy. Like if I feel like we got a connection, we might go on a second date. And I just honestly, I feel like a lot of people care about a lot of things that I don't really care about. And so they like to bring the conversations up about, like Republican, Democrat. Like I care about climate change. I don't want to sit here and talk about all that on our first date. I want to get to know you for like who you are. People who watch TV all the time, I don't have time for that. Like, yeah, you can have your soap operas, but I like to I want a relationship where I can sit down and build with somebody. Like, how can we open up a business together? How can we use our strengths together to get to the next level? I want someone to be able that I can build with. Right. That's really something that I'm looking for. But
how would you find out on the first date, though?
Oh, I'm open. I'm open.
I mean, but on the first date,
read people pretty well.
So the first date, you guys are sitting there at dinner. You're like, so do you want to open a business, or like there has to be some type of general conversation?
Not necessarily. It's more me just like reading the characteristics that I feel like they have within themselves, how they operate. It's more along the line of that, but no, I don't ask like, do you want to open a business together? But it's more like, how can we help each other and our common goals get to the next level? If I don't even feel like we have any way that we can even help each other, then, I probably won't proceed like that.
Okay. So going back to the OnlyFans, I had to ask this question because I heard this a couple times. What if they're only advertising their toes on OnlyFans? I think for real,
that is the thing. I will say I was seeing somebody and she started selling her underwear
on OnlyFans.
Oh, OnlyFans.
So she would take a picture of her underwear and then she would sell them.
Okay.
And
I go for like $5,000.
I have a question.
I was getting $300-$400 for a pair of clothes.
I have a question.
This is crazy.
This is a question.
Wait, are these underwear she's worn and she's selling them?
Oh yeah. So you wear them and then you put them in a bag and then you sell them. It's crazy things that people do.
So they don't want you to watch them. They want them fresh off of you.
Oh, they don't want you to. Yeah, you can wear them for a week. The more you wear them, the more money they're going for.
Really? I don't know who's. You know what? You know what? COVID has really made people unresourceful, and I knew about the fee. So there's dudes out there. I wonder if I can sell. You know what? I wonder if any chicks will buy my underwear. Like I got some nice boxers.
and they're for sale. I mean, you can always go on to OnlyFans and see what the demand is.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You can take a couple little pictures in your undies, put them up, and see how much people give you.
Did she make a lot of money off of it?
She made thousands of dollars.
That's
Seriously?
crazy.
And so what
How
was your
you feel
issue
about
with it, Curtis? Was it the fact that she
I,
was on OnlyFans, or like what was the
never,
issue?
I never had an issue with that in particular because she talked to me about it. I just didn't get online and find her one day. But she wasn't like selling pictures of herself. I feel like if she was doing that, I might have had to draw a line, or something. Everybody's different though at the same time, but she was literally it was just her underwear.
I have
She
a
is.
question. So do they know what she looked like, or they just didn't care? It was anybody.
Yes. So she had a picture of her,
Okay,
but she didn't like have any pictures of her wearing the underwear.
gotcha. Okay.
Oh, so they could be. See, you know what? That's gullible. I need to see. You at least had to be in them. If I'm gonna buy them, like let's just say if I'm buying Cardi B's underwear, I need to know she was in them. Like I'm not gonna buy. Like it could be anybody.
That's what I said. That's what
They
I
could
said.
have been her sister Hennessy wearing them, and I didn't bought Cardi B's underwear, really they're Hennessy's, and paid all this money.
Right.
I can't do it.
Well, Well,
For me,
I'm sure
I'm
sure
not
we can
doing
go
it. But I'm
deeper.
just saying.
We can go deeper into that. But I want to know what's the craziest thing that y'all have had happen while you were dating? Like, has there been any crazy dating experiences? I mean, I think the underwear that's actually pretty crazy to find out. Like,
The
Sorry.
craziest thing, I do a pretty good screening. I think the only person I didn't screen well was my ex-wife, but other than that, I'm a pretty good screener. I was young then. I was young. I was living in Cincinnati. You know, the Cincinnati water messes your mind up. But so I haven't really had crazy. Yeah, since I've been single, I haven't really. No, I'm a good
what about you, Ray?
Man, back when I lived in Georgia, I was dating this female for a couple of months. It was a new relationship. I didn't know at the time that she was bipolar. I found out after the fact. And she called me one night. I was sleeping. I didn't pick up. And she drives all the way like an hour across town at like 2:00 in the morning. Boom, 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 boom. Where's she at? Open the door, just boof, busting the door. Where's she at? She's looking through the closet, looked under the bed, looked in the shower. I know that boo, 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 boo. It's here somewhere. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's nobody in my house. Why didn't you call me? I called you 17 times. I go, obviously I'm asleep. It's 2:00 in the morning. And so I had to manage that situation accordingly. But yeah, that was pretty crazy.
So did you have to get a restraining order, or like?
No,
how did you get rid of it?
obviously I broke over after that because that was crazy.
I don't.
And then she called me 700 times. I blocked her. She called me from other numbers via text and via email. She hacked into my my Hotmail at the time and emailed women on my rideshare that was saying that that's my husband and all this other stuff. So these people are coming to me on the rideshare. I was like, what in the world is going on? So I had to call the police for a restraining order.
Well, I have to interrupt you a little bit. She's not bipolar. That's just her. Like that's
just Tuesday for her. You know, it was
like that's like I can. If that's the case, I probably can name at least 500 women that have done that. Like,
really? That's
So
crazy.
that's a common thing.
Yeah, it's never happened to me, thank God. But I know a lot of people have had happened to. So unless there's a lot of bipolar people, you know.
That's crazy.
Well, what about you, Curtis? You got any crazy moments aside from the panties being sent in bags?
No, I mean I have a couple stories. I have a few stories, but the craziest one I would have to say is I started seeing this young lady and she ended up things weren't going too well with us, because she was stepping outside of what we had going on, but I didn't know at the time. She ended up okay. Every time I think about it, my mind goes blank. So she ended up being pregnant before she even started messing with me.
Oh wow!
But she knew that she was pregnant. And then she tried to tell me that the baby was my kid. And I ended up finding out from the baby daddy, that I can't believe you've been messing with my girl. And I had no idea that they even had a baby on the way. And this lady's out here messing with me, trying to pin this baby on me when she's been pregnant for 2 months already.
Oh, God.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
You're trying to do some reverse engineering. Like, well, if I tell it.
Yeah, like what do you think was going to happen when it popped out?
She was going to say it was
didn't
a
have
preemie.
blue eyes. Like, that ain't my baby. Stop.
She's going to say it was a preemie. I call it, she's going to say it was a preemie.
Right. It didn't
Right.
tell her yet.
Okay, right. She's going to say it's a preemie. And you would have to get a test. Right.
So we got 4 minutes left. I want you guys to give advice to the opposite sex or to the same sex, if that's your preference. Any advice that you would give as it relates to dating in 2023? That just something that would help them, help women do a better job of dating.
Okay. Oh, you want me to, well, as a I'm a heterosexual, so I'm talking to the ladies to help them. What should they do? I think be more open, exactly what they want, what they're looking for in a relationship. If not to tell them, because sometimes I think women say things to men that they think men want to hear. A lot of men will say, I don't want to have a relationship, I just want to date. And women will say, oh, that's fine, I'm fine with that. But 6 months to a year, if they're just still, he's still dating other people, but she's probably not. She's, trying to change the scope of the relationship. So I think if he says this is what he wants, this is what he's looking for, not to try to change him. And you should understand that from the beginning.
Right. So stick with what you want and don't try to make somebody fit into that.
Correct.
Okay. Curtis or Raymond?
My best advice would be stop trying to jump from relationship to relationship, but look within, fix yourself, and understand that you can't be who you're truly meant to be until you fight your own demons and start to work from within. You can't just jump into a new relationship and expect not to have the same issues that you had before when you're not making the changes that you need to make within yourself for those things that not to happen.
Okay.
Nice. I would say number one, be a safe place. Be a safe place for a man's emotion and his thoughts. No one wants to say something and it comes back to bite you in an argument. We're not going to trust you anymore. I would say 2, operating your feminine energy. I hear a lot of people say, well, if he do this, then I'll be feminine. No, we like women just to be feminine. Don't be feminine contingent upon how we act or how men are. Just be your naturally authentic self. And I'll say my last advice is men don't want to handle women. We don't want to, you're not a child. You're not our dependent. We want you to be a partner, equal partner in a relationship. No one wants to handle you. So
stop letting the music get to your head. Who's going to handle me?
Yeah, that's bad advice. It's horrible.
Does anybody want to give their contact information last minute?
Yeah. Check us out check out the 811 Crew on YouTube. We're on DCTV. We're on Spotify, the 811 Crew, 811 CREW. Check us out. We're on Tuesdays.
Anybody else?
Yeah. If you're looking for professional recruitment services or resume writing, you can reach me at Raymond Woods at LinkedIn.com or LinkedIn.com/Raymond Woods.
Okay. Curtis?
If you want my Instagram, it's Curtis Brinker, or you can look at my business. It's Bodies Unleashed. It's really it. I appreciate you guys.
All right. I appreciate you guys joining the conversation tonight, and we hope you have a great night and somebody's learned something for sure.
I think so.
If I get OnlyFans, though, don't be judging me. Like,
oh no, I won't. I probably won't buy your underwear, but let me know if you're doing it.
Trying to do.
Find out if I can sell my underwear too. If you do one, I want to sell mine.
Okay, I mean, like, listen, we're gonna find out what this market talking about.
All right.
We'd like to say thanks to our sponsors.
Today's episode of The Plug is sponsored by the following companies. At the platinum level, we have CET, a PBS station. CET is your home for the arts in Greater Cincinnati. At the gold level, we have Spiritual Genius. Spiritual Genius is a lifestyle brand created to highlight spiritual experiences and uplift people in the process. Check out their apparel and travel wear at spiritualgeniusbrand.com. At the silver level, we have PK Essentials. PK Essentials is a brand of beard care products for male grooming. PK Essentials takes the guesswork out of beard care with 3 simple steps: cleanse, moisturize, and shine. For more information, visit them at pkbeardessentials.com. Also at the silver level, we have The Art of Fitness. The Art of Fitness is a Black-owned, multi-purpose training facility located in North College Hill and owned and operated by former NFL player Arthur Hunter. For more information, follow Mr.Art_of_fitness on Instagram or call 513-430-6362. And last but certainly not least, at the bronze level, Pride Charter Services. Pride Charter Services is committed to meeting your travel needs and exceeding your expectations. With Pride, you can enjoy the ride and let them drive. For more information, go to pridetransportationsllc.com or pride_transportation on Instagram. The Plug thanks all of our sponsors for helping us keep you connected.